Good evening, folks. Welcome to a new edition of Curveball Convos with your boys at Carolina Curveball. It's good to be back. Was unavailable last week due to my brother's birthday, but I am now here after a fun weekend of college baseball. Looking forward to another great midweek this week. First of all, I want to say I hope everyone's safe. There's a massive storm in the area, Reed Tobin, as you are in Richmond, Virginia, also throughout the Carolinas. So, Reed, our weatherman, give us a report, sir.
Yeah, I'm currently under a tornado warning at the moment as we speak. I don't know if y'all can hear, but I mean, the wind is just shaking this hotel I'm in right now.
Yeah, I am residing in Mebane, North Carolina, and I was feeling the wind and the rain all day today during my travels for work as well from Greensboro. So, the weather is here. Please be careful. Braxton, no school today either in Wake County where you live in the Triangle. So hopefully this goes away tomorrow. I think it will, but high of 44 tomorrow where I am. So frigid temperatures tomorrow for midweek madness.
Yeah, kind of a crazy weather week and weekend, but it wasn't too bad here in the area. I mean, it was raining a lot this morning, but I did see, I think there was already 3 or 4 cancellations for tomorrow's games. So kind of an adjusted slate, but it will be cold. It will be cold this week, so that they will have to kind of adjust back to that after warming up a little bit in the last few weeks. So will be interesting to see how teams adjust to that. And yeah, Reed, hope you're staying safe. But it wouldn't be Reed Tobin without talking ball in a tornado warning.
It would not be Reed Tobin without talking ball in a ice storm or tornado warning, whichever you want to call it. First, to kick off the show, boys, we are going to run through the weekend slate, the weekend recap. Excuse me. First, Reed, I'm going to kick off with Georgia Tech and Clemson as Georgia Tech defeats Clemson 2-1. They started this series on Thursday, ended on Saturday. Reed, Georgia Tech wins game one, shuts Clemson out in 7 innings, wins 10-0. Kanak had 6 earned runs in 4 innings and 8 Ks. Georgia Tech then wins game two to clinch the series 9-3. And then Clemson wins the final game. I'm looking for right here 13-7. So, Reed, what does this mean for both programs and your kind of outlook on both teams, especially Clemson going forward?
Yeah, I'll start with Clemson. I mean, like you said, Aiden Kanak really roughed up. He only went 4 innings. On that Thursday night game, I think he gave up 9 hits and 6 earned runs. His worst start maybe of his career that he's had as a Clemson Tiger. And then, Michael Sharman, he was a little better on Friday night, but he was still roughed up. The bullpen was roughed up. They were able to salvage on Saturday and avoid the sweep. But, I mean, this Georgia Tech offense, my God, it kind of reminds me, Braxton, 3 years ago, Wake's lineup. Just a lot of power in that lineup. Von Lackey, he might be the best catcher in the country. I mean, you can play just about any position out there on the field. Drew Burress is doing his thing. I mean, that is just a dangerous lineup right now.
Rex, I was going to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I think Reed says it best. I mean, Georgia Tech's lineup, I mean, that's the reason that a lot of people were high on them in the offseason. I do have them in my Omaha 8 just purely off of their talent in that lineup, and I'm keeping it that way. I know, Reed, me and you kind of squared away our new Omaha 8s today, but they look incredible. I did pick Clemson to win this series. I thought they'd play better at home. Like you said, Kanak got roughed up a little bit. They just really couldn't find a rhythm on Friday or Saturday either. Obviously, they win Saturday, which was good to see, but I got to take back any comment I've ever made on Drew Burress. That guy is a stud, man. I wasn't that high on him a couple years ago. You guys can remember that. I know Kaysen does.
Yes.
But man, he's absolutely proved me wrong. He's looking really, really good. And he just shows up in big moments, and I think he proved that this weekend.
The other series that wrapped up on Saturday, Florida Gulf Coast sweeps Queens. Reed, we were saying pre-show, is this now 12 straight losses for Queens, unfortunately, since the massive win versus South Carolina?
Unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunate as Fortunate for sure. And another kind of shocker, a kind of resident in our power rankings, Charleston Southern drops a series to Villanova. They lose the first two games. Kind of a shocker here. Villanova wins game one 5-4. Um, take a 1-0 lead. Villanova then wins the second one 5-0 in a doubleheader on Saturday to clinch the series. And then Charleston Southern's offense, who we've seen all year, finally explodes in the doubleheader. The second game, winning 22-4. Villanova beats them 2-1, and they also lost in the midweek this week to UNC Wilmington 18-2. So not really a good week for your Buccaneers, Reed. I know Braxton, me and you were not as high on them, but I still think they're a good program. But Reed, a tough week this past week, and coming up in the midweek, they have North Florida at home tomorrow, so a bounce back opportunity there for them.
Yeah, rough week for them overall. I believe they were the only Big South team not to play a conference series this weekend.
Yeah.
Braxton, am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, it's not good for them headed into conference play. But, let's see if they can build back some momentum they had the first few weeks of the season as they open up Big South play this upcoming weekend.
And that was the only other series that ended on Saturday, correct? It was just those three?
Yep.
Correct. And now we will get into the slate or the scoreboard, on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, on Spotify, I will read them out to you. UNCG sweeps UIC. This is a big weekend for them, in my opinion. Excuse me. Illinois Chicago is not the best team, but UNCG, I'm reading it off here. UNC Greensboro, they went 4-1 this week. Previous week they went 2-2. Previous week 0-4. So a nice little momentum there for the Spartans. And UNC Wilmington gets pulling up on my sheet, gets the sweep over Elon. Reed, did you think Elon was going to take a game here, or has Randy Hood's bunch really turned a corner this week? Was it 4-0?
I believe I had UNCW taking 2 out of 3, but their pitching staff just continues to impress me week in and week out. Arguably right now, you can make the argument that they've had the best pitching staff on the weekends in the Carolinas. I mean, Cooper Allen, Bromley Thornton were sensational again. Connor Marshburn did his thing. It's a really encouraging start here in NCAA play for Wilmington. They've won 7 in a row, I believe, overall, 6-0 in conference play. So it's a really good start for the Seahawks.
Talking about a good start, Coastal Carolina overcomes the injuries once again and sweeps App State. App State going 0-4 this weekend, Braxton. App State, kind of a roller coaster of a season. I'm gonna go week by week. 3-0, 3-1, 1-3, getting swept by Gardner Webb, and then 3-1, and then 0-4 this week for App State. So, kind of for both these programs, App State and Coastal Carolina in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, definitely a missed opportunity for App. I mean, I watched some of this series, and App really blew that, especially that game on Saturday, I think it was, and they had a lead yesterday as well. They just weren't able to rely on their bullpen very well. I mean, Gage Peterson is an arm that's been fantastic for them. He's made our honor roll at least 3 times now, and he threw 7 shutout innings against Coastal. But App did blow the game like in the 8th or 9th, and it was tough to see because I thought that with that crowd in Boone, I was really hoping they would kind of take a game from Coastal. But good for Coastal to get a nice series sweep on the road to start Sun Belt play.
Reed, there are some questions going into this year with the Duke Blue Devils as Pollard leaves. Questions about them in ACC play, but versus Miami this weekend, hosting them in Durham, they win game 1 4-0, and then they lose game 2 9-0, series tied, and then they just absolutely explode on Sunday to win 20-10. And Reed, just kind of your thoughts on the Blue Devils and Aiden Weaver for Duke. 6 innings, 8 Ks, 0 earned, 2 hits, 1 walk, and a win versus Miami. Just huge for Duke, and just kind of what are your expectations for Duke? Because I think we've kind of gone back and forth on them all season this year, and they have Campbell tomorrow, so going down there is always tough. Playing in Bowie's Creek, so what are you kind of looking there tomorrow as well as from the weekend?
Yeah, Duke continues to answer the bell. They continue to win series. I know they dropped last weekend to Notre Dame, but this is a great bounce back against I think, a really good Miami team. You touched on it, Aiden Weaver. He's been great for Duke. They really needed, losing most of their pieces from their pitching staff from last year. He's really answered in a big way this year. Then, Matthew Strauss, I believe, is that how you say his last name, Braxton?
Yeah, I think so. Is it the pitcher?
He exploded. Yeah, he exploded yesterday. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs as they pounded Miami. It's really good.
Matthew Strand.
Strand, yeah, correct.
Yeah,
my fault.
yeah.
But yeah, no, this is a really good series win against a dangerous Miami lineup too that we know a lot about. That's been absolutely raking the first month and a half here in the season. I'm impressed what I'm seeing so far from Duke. I mean, it's going to get tougher. I mean, obviously, Cider Cannon's still out for probably another 6 to 7 more weeks. But I like what I like what I'm seeing though for Duke right now.
St. John's with I think one of the real shocks of the weekend here with a series win over Charlotte. Braxton. Charlotte, one of the hotter teams in the Carolinas, if not the country, and they drop game 1 to St. John's 8-6, and then they come back on Saturday and drop game 2 3-2 to St. John's, and kind of a shock here. I don't think none of us in our big pick'em. I don't think none of us picked St. John's to take this series, and then they do. excuse me, they do bounce back on Sunday to win 10-9, as you see on the screen. But kind of a shocker here for a Charlotte program that has been playing some really good baseball. They do have a big opportunity at South Carolina tomorrow, which I am looking forward to, and also against your alma mater on Wednesday as they host Upstate.
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise. Give St. John's credit for coming in here and getting a series win. I think they kind of jumped on them early. And just took control of the series. But yeah, Charlotte, like you mentioned, does get the job done yesterday. I think it was a Todd Hudson walk-off hit that got the job done. So, yeah, I mean, for Woodard and company, I think they just need to move on from it, focus on American play coming up. They've got a double midweek, like you said, Kaysen, coming up with 2 good opponents. I mean, South Carolina and South Carolina Upstate. So they need to just move on and flush it pretty quickly. You're going to lose baseball games. You're going to lose series sometimes. And, like I said, give St. John's credit as a Big East team coming in here to Charlotte and surprising us.
They've got South coming to town, too, this weekend.
Yeah.
Who's a lot right now.
Is that who they open up with?
Yeah, so it's a big week for Charlotte this week.
Speaking of teams up north, Boston College gives NC State kind of all they can handle. And I don't exactly know what happened on Friday night, but we were texting about it, how Boston College had the opportunity to win on Friday night in the ninth, and they kind of threw it away. NC State walks away with that one 4-2. And then Boston College wins game 2 on Saturday 12-5 to tie the series, and NC State wins the final game to clinch the series 5-1. Reed, are you kind of shocked by this result, or is BC not that bad? It is hard to travel up there and take all 3 games.
No, I mean, I think over the years BC's given State a lot of issues. Wasn't it last year? State just had to win that last weekend of the season, and they lost the series.
Yeah, they could have won the ACC. They could have won the ACC championship with a few weeks out, and I think everything went wrong down the stretch, because I remember us talking about it on the show.
I believe it was the last weekend of the regular season last year. But no, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, State's had some head-scratching losses this season. But, I mean, anytime you win a series in the ACC, you're going to take that. But, I mean, Marone and Heath Andrews were great as usual this weekend.
And Braxton, South Carolina, I mean, they just get swept by Florida. Don't know what else to say. This same Florida team lost the series to High Point. So, I mean, just kind of let's do some math here.
Yeah, I remember me and Colby both talking about this on the Thursday show coming up. We both predicted a Florida sweep, and we both were correct on that. I think we saw Florida bouncing back against a weaker South Carolina team. But I mean, just a bad offensive weekend for South Carolina. I mean, I'll let Reed touch on it. You know, we were texting that night of the game that was a no hitter through 7 or 8
8
innings, and then
2/3.
all of a sudden, Florida gets the run and they take control of that game. But I mean, it's just been bad news for them in that lineup. They have a lot of good hitters, but they're not getting much out of them. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how you fix it. Obviously, it's a tough situation right now in Columbia because, like we know, the schedule is not going to get easier in the SEC. And yeah, I mean, it could all go downhill pretty quickly. But I'll let Reed touch on that game because it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean Josh Gunther on Friday night. I mean he gave him a great outing. I think he went like 6 2/3, didn't give up a hit. And then they went to the bullpen, and I believe, yeah, they hadn't allowed a hit. I think Florida had a base hit with 2 outs. Their first hit of the game with 2 outs in the ninth, and then walked it off there in the 10th. But I believe during that game, I think teams were combined 3 for 70 or something atrocious like that. It's a really bad week for South Carolina. I mean, not to mention the midweek loss to Citadel. Like y'all said, it's not going to get any easier. This feels like it could be the breaking point. I mean, they sit 12-9 right now. They welcome Arkansas to town this weekend. I mean, they could be staring 0-6 in SEC play come next Sunday.
Is Maneri still in the dugout, Reed?
I've been seeing things just let Monty Lee coach the rest of the regular season for them, and then they can focus. If he does well, give him the job. If he doesn't, hire someone else for next year. I mean, I would be shocked if Maneri lasts. I mean, you don't really see many coaches fired midway through the season in college baseball, but I would be shocked if he returns for next season.
And it's bad because I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I think the talent is there. I think this roster has talent. It's just is it just? I think it's just culture. I think it's culture. I think it's not even to the point of managing these guys. I think it's to the point of culture. I just think there's just something in the wall, something in the water. It's just unreal. And if you go on Big Spur 247 Sports and just that's what they talk about over there. Braxton, do you have anything?
No, I think you're right. I think that's a good point. I think it is a little bit culture. I mean, I was just laughing because earlier, on our rankings, we had South Carolina fans saying South Carolina too high, and they're not even listed on there. It just made me chuckle. I mean, that goes back to their fan base realizes this is not it. This is not what we want to see. This is not South Carolina baseball. And frankly, for the Carolinas and for us at Curveball, we want them to be better than this too. I mean, it hurts us. It hurts everyone. So. Yeah, hopefully it turns around. I don't expect it to anytime this season, but yeah, the talent is definitely there, like you said, Casey. And I think they'll always be able to get talent there, just with their facilities, their pedigree as a program. So hopefully they get the right coach in there and get it turned around.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Reed.
I'll ask you all this: is this damaging Maneri's legacy?
I mean, I think so.
Yes,
a little bit.
100%, without a doubt. And what was I about to say? Oh, what I was about to say, Reed, just kind of your thoughts on South Carolina really is a sleeping giant in the college baseball world. I mean, they are they have so much tradition, and honestly, I'm gonna be saying kind of selfish. It's unfortunate for us that they are not good because when South Carolina is good, I mean, it's just good for the Carolinas. It's good for competition, and selfishly, I'll say it's good for us too because their fans are engaged. People are going to games. If you look at that park, if you look at Founders Park on a weekend or a Friday night, empty. It's brutal. And for a program of that pedigree, Reed, it's bad.
Yeah, it's sad to see. One of the best programs in the 2010s. Obviously, 2 national titles. They nearly three-peated in 2012 too. So I mean, it sucks to see what has happened. I think they just need a clean house and start from scratch. I think it really is going to get really ugly. I didn't think they could top last season's debacle, but I mean, at the rate they're going,
they're doing it. They're doing it. Yeah,
they're doing it for sure. And also, just going forward. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they've got. I mean, they've got to win SEC series at some point, and I don't want to turn this into Sacramento bashing, so we're going to end it here. But I really want them. I really want them to be better. We'll keep it in South Carolina here. Winthrop, Braxton, your former coach Grant McGuire also had a really good week at the plate as they sweep Radford and as they make the long trip across the country.
Yeah. Yeah, they're heading out west this
Yeah.
week to play. So they're the one. So like I told Reed, there's one team that doesn't play a Big South series. They're that team this week, and they're heading out to California to play Pacific in the midweek, and then Sacramento State, the team that just beat LSU in a series not too long ago. But they get a series sweep, was it, against Radford?
Yes.
Yes.
They get a couple of hard-fought wins with some walk-offs, and like you mentioned, Grant McGuire was on our honor roll. He's Coach McGuire's nephew. He had a really good week, 10 for 22 with 8 ribbies. And then we talked about it on Thursday, but Jalen Hernandez has just been fantastic for that team. He had 3 home runs this week as well. Easily probably could have made honor roll as well for them. So I look for them to perform well, hopefully out in California and kind of make a name for themselves out there. You know, I doubt they've played any of those teams that they're about to play ever. So, you know, hopefully they can do well out there and continue their form. They're back in the rankings, which is good to see. And you know, like we've talked about all year, they're going to be a threat in the Big South. So it's good for them to start off with a sweep over Radford.
And really cool experience to
Yeah.
travel there in college. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Braxton, I'll keep it with you here. Campbell gets a 2-1 series win over A&T,
Yeah.
and they had some highlight performances that we highlighted in the honor roll as Jonah Oyster, 8 for 18, 7 RBIs, 6 runs, 2 home runs, 3 doubles, 1 stolen base. Carlos Lugo and Logan Chapman also had highlight weekends as well. Campbell has a tough week coming up. They have Duke and Coastal back to back in the midweek. I'm not sure off the top of my head who they play in on the weekend, but tough midweek to start.
Yeah, I think the good thing for them is they get both those games at home. I think they're much better in Bowie's Creek, as my screen just went out there. But I think they're much better in Bowie's Creek, and I think that for them to have success, they need to pitch the ball really well. And you know, like you mentioned, Oster, Lugo, and Chapman had good weeks offensively, but it was good to see Rosal. He was our pitcher of the week. He had a really good outing against A&T. So yeah, I think just the key for them is to pitch it really well.
Oh yeah,
They're sitting at 5-1 too in CAA, so it's a good start for them. You know, after the past 2 years, really struggling to make the adjustment over to the CAA.
and to keep it in the CAA, Reed College of Charleston gets 2-1 series win over Stony Brook. Move on. Davidson drops the series to Fordham. If you cannot see on the screen, Davidson lost the final game 26-3. That is not good. That's a couple touchdowns and 2-point conversion, field goal. That's not very good. We'll kind of move on from that one. Reed Tobin, our alma mater, East Carolina, 4-1 week, drops game 2 to Penn, wasting another Gavin Van Kempen masterclass performance. Reed, what's going on with the Pirates, sir? How would you grade this week for the Pirates, considering the offensive explosions in the midweek?
I was about to give him an A+, but then when you spoil Gavin Van Kippen for the second week in a row, you know, like you said, Case, in 6 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts, 0 earned runs, and you can't even score a run. That's really disappointing. I mean, in his past 2 starts, 25 strikeouts, 1 earned run. I mean, just ridiculous numbers that he's putting up. It's kind of reminding me of Trey Savage numbers. Just his windup, too, reminds me a little bit of him. But, I mean, I think there's some concerns for ECU, too. Obviously, after yesterday with the injury bug, you know, Colby Weber leaves the game with a apparent arm injury. That might not be good. We don't have an update yet on his availability. And then Jack Herring gets hurt diving for a ball out in right field. I mean, he could be out a few weeks. You know, it's the 3rd time we've talked off screen, Kason, but I mean, this is the 3rd time ECU's been shut out at home to Western, to Carolina, and now to Penn. I mean, when the offense is on, I mean, they really don't strike out that much. They just lack a lot of power, and it's really frustrating to see at times when you spoil a great start from Gavin Van Kippen and can't score any runs.
it is quite odd when you don't know where the power is, and then you pinch hit Michael Kalinick in the last 2 weeks, and in his first at bat, he hits 2 home runs. So just quite something that I don't know what's going on there. I know Walker Barron is the better catcher, but then it goes to do you want to DH him? But then you lose the catcher, and I don't know how you feel about Blake Carver, the third catcher there. So I don't really know. We'll see with the Pirates. They face Elon tomorrow. We'll talk about the Pirates later on the weekend preview. Gardner Webb, 2-1 series win over Longwood. And to keep it in the Big South, Braxton, the big one, Upstate wins the series over High Point, wins the first two. High Point wins the last one here, 7-5. Braxton, how happy are you, sir, that your Spartans defeated the Panthers?
Yeah, I think it was really important for them to win that series at home. We know that be fireworks, especially at that field. They were able to come out on top. Just real quickly on Gardner Webb too, I think they're a bit unlucky to fall from the rankings with winning that series against a good Longwood team.
I agree.
But it is what it is. There were some other teams that had some good performances too. And then obviously High Point with the win over Florida. I think that's the most important thing for Upstate too, is like beating a High Point team that beat Florida on the road in a series is a good look, especially, Upstate's played a tough schedule in the front end of their schedule. And I think that just winning that series shows them that they're serious, or shows us that they're serious, and they can win the Big South. And I'm really excited to see what they continue to do in league play as well as this week. They've got a good opportunity to beat a good Charlotte team, which would be a really good resume win for them as well.
Speaking of motion in the Big South, how about Presbyterian getting their first series win of the season over Asheville? And proud of you boys for predicting it on the show on Thursday. I will say I did put it in the sheet. I did predict it as well in the pick'em. I was on the show, so big series win there for them. And I also want to highlight, shout out Tristan McGregor for Presbyterian. He had 3 appearances, 9 innings, 14 Ks, 1 earned, 5 hits, 2 walks, and had 1 win. Also want to shout out him too. He followed us on Instagram. If you're listening, appreciate it, dog. Just really happy for this Presbyterian team. They now move to 4-17, and Reed, the sky is the limit with this team.
Yeah, good for them. Stops the bleeding. And we'll see maybe if they can keep this going here over the next few weeks.
Also, Christian Charalambis, he threw a complete game shutty against Asheville. We did not include him on the honor roll, but definitely deservingly as well. I think he's a left-handed pitcher for them that had a really good game. I think he even won Big South co-pitcher of the week as well. So probably should have had him on the honor roll, but we did give it to McGregor, like you said, who threw 3 appearances for them this week with 14 Ks, which was really impressive. But yeah, really happy that me and Colby were able to predict that. They needed wins in the worst way, and they got a series win, so good for them.
Very happy for them. And for UNC Asheville, I kind of think this is going to sound bad. Don't really want to say this, but I'll say it. I think their wins kind of got inflated when they went down and played in Mississippi, played against some bad teams, which is good to get competition, but I think that's kind of why we picked Presbyterian to win. But proud of them. Western Carolina plays a 4-game series versus Morehead State, goes 3-1, and re-enters the Carolina Curveball Power Rankings. We will touch on that a little later. Wofford splits the series 2-2 with Princeton. Reed, Princeton, should we add them, and should we add them for Carolina Curveball for the rest of the
I think so. I think this is finally. I think that was their last game against a team from the Carolinas. So I think they finally go back up north, thankfully, this weekend.
And then the Citadel gets a series win over UT Martin. And hey, guys, the Citadel, we love in games, we love the comments, but hey, guys, we want to put Citadel in the rankings, but it's hard to put a team that's under 500 in our power rankings. We know they are a good team. They have had a gauntlet of a schedule. Braxton, is RPI and strength of schedule updated?
It is. It should be up to date from today if you want to look at it. But I agree. Like, Citadel obviously has a really good strength of schedule. I think, what are they, 47th in RPI, and they're still top of the Carolinas in strength of schedule. And they play another tough set of midweeks. I think they play two ranked teams in the midweek.
Yes, they play Georgia, and then they play Clemson.
Yeah, so another couple opportunities for them to shock the world again.
Yeah.
They're playing. Shout out to them, man. What a schedule. I mean,
Shout out.
this is
For real.
unbelievable what they're doing
For
to
real.
set themselves up for SoCon.
For real.
I think the argument's there for them to be ranked. I would love to see them knock off one of these teams.
Yes.
That would definitely help their cause. But it's not going unnoticed. We're seeing what they're doing.
Yes.
But yeah, go ahead, Case.
Yeah, I just want to say, like for those listening, it's not going unnoticed. I mean, they're playing a gauntlet of a schedule, the hardest schedule in the Carolinas. It is a fact because they have the 15th ranked strength of schedule in the Carolinas. In the next closest is Coastal Carolina at 24.
In the country.
Correct. Yes, this is the country, by the way. So the next closest in the Carolinas in the same region is Coastal Carolina, which is quite bizarre. Some other notable ones that I want to touch on, as I said, UNC Asheville ranked 296 strength of schedule in the country, which is quite bizarre to think about. That's a lot. And another notable one I want to touch on, NC State at 256.
Yeah, that'll go up here in the next couple weeks, though, for sure.
It'll go up for sure because NC State sitting at 138 in the net, which is quite something because you got teams like Winthrop, Wofford, Upstate higher than them. And did I say net?
Yeah, it's all right. It's
I mean, I'm
tired. It is March.
I'm tired of March. I'm tired. Oh my gosh, I apologize. The RPI, excuse me. It's all the same. Kim Palm, RPI, net, blah 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 blah. I hate it all. Oh, speaking of strange numbers, Reed, seeing Wake Forest with the word swept next to them is quite something. Reed, did you expect this? Your thoughts?
No, I mean, they had been on a roll, 15 in a row going into this week. They get crushed by Coastal in the midweek, and then the offense just really let them down this weekend. Only 6 runs, over 3 games, shutout twice. I mean, Blake Morningstar, he'd really been starting to pitch well, but he was roughed up again this weekend on Friday night, and then Duncan Marston on Sunday was roughed up. So a really bad week for Wake overall, and it's only going to get harder here too. I believe they're at Virginia this upcoming weekend.
Braxton, your thoughts on Florida State sweeping Wake and kind of where they go from here? Despite the sweep, we did have Chris Braxton. I'll let you say it because I called him Lenovo's last night when making the water roll on accident.
Chris Lavonis.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been outstanding for them. Like Reed said, I mean, Morningstar, you know what you're getting. They have a really good rotation. I was surprised that Florida State came in there and beat them, but nonetheless, Florida State's a really good ball club coached by Link Jarrett. So I'm not, I don't think it's time to panic if you're Wake. Obviously, you have an 0-4 week after starting 15-1. I think we kind of jinxed them a little bit after talking about their 15-game win streak. But I look for them to bounce back. You got a midweek against Liberty, which is a tough opponent. Assuming they get that game in, I think it's tomorrow. But I'm not too worried about Wake. I think they're still going to be a really, really good program. I think they could still be a 1, maybe 2 seed in the tournament. Obviously hosting chances, not a great start in the ACC, but, you've got it all to play for in front of you still.
And this is the final one, correct? We did not miss any because we said the ones before. So yes, UNC makes the trip to Berkeley and sweeps Cal. I'm gonna be completely honest. I had Cal winning the series. I think that no matter how good you are, traveling across the country is hard. And give it to the Heels coming off a series loss and traveling across the country and beating Cal in Berkeley. That's a huge series. And I'll let you two boys touch on the Heels because you follow them very closely.
You got to read.
Braxton, you want me to go first, or?
Yeah, go.
Kaysen, I mean, you make a good point too. Coming off the series loss to Virginia last weekend, I kind of had my eyes on them this weekend, making the travel all the way across the country. I thought it might be difficult. Cal's been pretty solid to start this year, but the Carolina pitching, I mean, yes, they were roughed up last weekend, but they returned to their normal self this weekend. DeCaro was great. Lynch and Boaz both had good games. And then McDuffie was great out of the bullpen. And then, Owen Hull, he's really starting to heat up offensively for Carolina, which I think has really helped them.
Yeah, I agree completely. I wanted to make the point of Owen Hull. I think he's been huge for them, as of late after the slow start. And you make a good point about the pitching too. They went out there, did their job. I think it's a really successful week for Carolina. Obviously, they jumped to 1 in our power rankings, which I think was more of a product of kind of what happened with Wake and State and Clemson having a losing week. So, but I mean, you can't argue that they've been winning ball games. Obviously, another big win for them was winning that Game 3 against Virginia. I think it was huge for them to not get swept. I think if they do get swept, that this weekend might have looked a little bit differently. But yeah, really good to see them. McDuffie as well had a great week. He was on our honor roll. So good thing to see from the Heels. They've got a nice week against UNCG in the midweek and then hosting Louisville, who's been struggling. So a good opportunity for them to win another series in the ACC. Louisville's going to be tough to beat. We know they're a talented ball club, but you got them at the Bosch at home. So should be expecting to win that one as well if you're Carolina.
Braxton, as you pull up the power rankings, we will kind of go through those. Reed, me and you will have a quick conversation about the RPI. It's still pretty early as conference play, league play is starting to begin, but as Braxton said, the Carolina nice bounce back. They are first in the RPI in the Carolinas, sitting at 17, Coastal at 21, Clemson at 26. And then we take a little jump here, Reed, to Wake Forest at 44. And then the Citadel at 47, Winthrop 56, Wilmington 65, South Carolina 67, and then USC Upstate at 76, Gardner-Webb 82. Gardner-Webb also has a strength of schedule of 82, kind of cool there, 82 squared. Charleston Southern 83, Western Carolina 87, East Carolina 93, Charlotte 96, and then a jump to High Point to 122, and we'll stop there because they get pretty high. The last team in RPI is Presbyterian at 290, A&T's at 285, Asheville's at 284. Reed, in all this net RPI, Ken Palm, Torvik, whatever you want to call them, Reed, at the end of the day, it is important when getting a bid to the whichever league you're in. Just kind of what are your thoughts on this as this is starting to become a relevant number? And in a couple weeks, Field of 54 projections will be coming out from Carolina Curveball from yours truly. So, Reed, as this starts to heat up, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not going to look too much into RPI right now. It still is early. I mean, yes, we know RPI is important. That's what the committee is going to look at on selection day. But, I really try not to pay more attention to it until April is when, the system will really start to fluctuate and set stage. So, I mean, it's cool to see a lot of the Carolina teams highly ranked right now in the RPIs. But, I mean, as games continue to take place, the RPI is going to change a good bit here as we
Last
get to April.
thing before we move on to power rankings, Braxton, I'll get your take too. I find it so interesting as we get to the end of the year when Reed said when RPI matters a lot more, when it's more under microscope, how if a team in the midweek, let's say like a power forward team is playing a not so good team in the midweek, and even if you step on the field, it drops in your RPI. You see teams saying, "Oh, on a sunny day, I saw a raindrop. We're gonna cancel the game." I always find that pretty interesting as it happened to it happens every single year. Games in mid-May to late May, midweek games kind of get canceled, which is quite funny. Reed, it happened to us when we were in college with Campbell, ECU, NC State as well. So, yeah. Braxton, your thoughts on RPI before we move to power rankings?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's kind of what the committee is going to go off of. So it's obviously going to be important to you. But like you said, Kaysen, like you're going to see teams schedule certain games and cancel certain games because it does, who you play matters. So I think going off of that, like if I'm the coach or if I'm making the schedule, I'm doing what the Citadel's doing. I'm playing as many tough games as I can. I'm beating the RPI, win or lose, because you can only help yourself by doing that. And I think, you can beat as many bad teams, we'll call it, as you would like. It's not going to help you down the stretch. And not only that, it's not going to help you on the RPI, but it's not going to help your team develop throughout the season. I think the better schedule you play, especially in non-con or just up front in general, the more success you'll have down the road. And I think a lot of good coaches and good programs try to do that the best they can to really, challenge their kids early in the year, because when it comes down to May and June baseball, like you're going to be thrown against some good teams. So why not play them early to get your feet wet and figure out what that's about? So it's just an interesting dynamic, but it is what it is. It's how they go. It's how they decide. The committee decides. So.
Oh yeah, and speaking of committees, this committee met and talked last night to form these power rankings. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening, I will read them out to you. New number one in the Carolinas, in the Carolina Curveball official power rankings is North Carolina, moving up 3 spots, sitting at 17, 3, and 1. Man, that one is annoying. At number 2, NC State moves up 1 spot to number 2, sitting at 16 and 14. Clemson at number 3, dropping from number 1 at 16 and 4. Coastal Carolina up 1 at 13 and 6, sitting at number 4. Number 5, Wake Forest at 15 and 5, as Reed stated, kind of a slip this week, but they have every opportunity with their schedule coming up to climb back up. Duke up 1 spot after defeating Miami at 15 and 7 to number 6. Number 7, Charlotte, after dropping the series to St. John's, goes to 13 and 6, sits at number 7. And a major jump. Is this one of the biggest movements we've ever had in the Carolina Curveball rankings? UNC Wilmington at number 8 at 14 and 6. I want to pause there, Braxton, because I think you want to touch on that. Wilmington hurdles 4 teams into the Carolina Curveball power rankings, going from non-ranked to number 8. And we kind of touched on earlier, Randy Hood's Bunts is a very hot team right now, and I don't think you want to play them as NC State plays them this week.
Yeah, they do. They go down to Wilmington, but we were talking about that. I think Colby, maybe Reed, and I as well. We think it might be the biggest jump from a non-ranked team to go up to 8 that we've ever had. And we mentioned it last week. We said that Wilmington was right on the bubble. You know, they were hot last week. Another good week would have gotten them across. So they were right there. I think they started off pretty slowly. You know, they were in our preseason rankings and kind of went out pretty soon. They've just kind of been chugging along, playing really good ball as of late. And yeah, they find themselves at 8 and deservingly so. You know, obviously there was some talk about the head-to-head with ECU, which is certainly a factor. You know, obviously ECU did beat them. Western did obviously beat ECU, so I think those 3 could shuffle around in any order, but it is what it is. There's more to it than just head-to-head. We do want to preface that. I think some guys value head-to-head more than others, but it's about the body of work. I know that term's kind of used a little loosely, especially among committees and things like that, but it truly is, right? It's not just about one game or one weekend. It's about the body of work that you put out there every day, every weekend, every series. So I think UNCW absolutely deserves to be where they're at right now, and I honestly think they could go up from here as well.
To finish out the rankings, Reed, then we'll get your thoughts on the rankings. Number 9, East Carolina stays there at 12, 8, and 1. Number 10, back in the power rankings, is Western Carolina at 14 and 7, going from not ranked to number 10. And another team not ranked, number 11, Winthrop at 14 and 6. And High Point stays in there, rounding out the list at number 12, 11 and 9, dropping 1 spot, 11 to 12. Reed, we got 2 American teams, 1 CAA, 1 SoCon, 1 Big South. Just kind of, how do you see these kind of leagues and kind of where in just the bottom from UNC Wilmington down has been just a shuffle. Kind of the top 7 have been kind of where they are with Charlotte, Duke, Wake, Coastal Clemson, NC State, Carolina. But that Wilmington, ECU, Western, High Point, Gardner Webb's been in that. Upstate might be in there soon. Just kind of that range, Reed. Just kind of how from week to week is that?
I think it's just a testament. I think the leagues are just improved. I think the CAA is better this year. I think the Big South is more deeper this year. And then, you know, the SoCon is a good conference too. This year, there's multiple teams in each league that can make the NCAA tournament. But, you know, I think there was a lot of argument too on that Upstate should be in over High Point. But Like me and Braxton have said many times, it's too early. It's too early to put a team below 500 into the rankings. And I still value high points series win at Florida. I mean, that arguably might be the best series win of any team in the Carolinas at the moment. And then, me personally, I had Coastal Carolina higher, but I'm totally fine with them being at 4. I think things are only going to go up here for them. Hopefully they get Ryan Lynch back. He should be due back here in a few weeks. And then, they'll just have to wait and see if Fluky and Johnson can return.
I also want to say you kind of said it, Reed. South Carolina, for the first time in 3 years, are not in these rankings. An SEC program is not in our rankings, which is just quite bizarre to think. But Reed and Braxton, like, if South Carolina lined up against each of these 12 teams, I mean, I'm gonna take. I mean, it would not. I would not say South Carolina's going to win this series, and that's just
Absolutely.
how it is, Braxton.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying they would or wouldn't?
Would not. Would not.
Yeah,
Would not.
no, absolutely. I think any of these teams could beat South Carolina on any given day, absolutely. But I also think South Carolina can compete with the majority of these teams. I mean, that's just a testament, like we said, to their talent, right? Like,
yes,
the pieces are there, I think, for South Carolina. It's just a matter of can they find the right combinations, and I just don't think they have the man in the dugout that's able to do that right now. So credit to Reed. I think you were bang on with that bold prediction because I don't see him lasting very, very long.
And I also think Gamecock Nation is with us. As Braxton said earlier in the comments, the top comment right now is South Carolina is too high on this list. So, I mean, it's very unfortunate that a program from back-to-back national titles, almost to a three-peat, is out of our rankings, and their fan base is saying too high. Let's kind of look at the top here. Reed, Wake Forest takes a tumble, as we kind of discuss, losing 4 straight games, not ideal. And they also play Liberty tomorrow, who is a midweek pest for all Carolina teams. I think I need to chat GPT this, but I swear every time Liberty is in the midweek versus Carolina team, Liberty comes out with the win. Whether it's bizarre, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it's possible for Wake to drop another one at home versus Liberty, to make it 5 straight. And Reed, I'll let you touch on them as well as Carolina moving to 3. Just a massive bounce back after that series loss to Virginia to travel to Berkeley and get a series win.
Yeah, I mean, Wake really needs to win tomorrow because, I mean, they're going to have their hands full this upcoming weekend traveling to Charlottesville. But, yeah, I mean, you go 0-4 on a week, you're gonna drop a good amount in the rankings. Like we said, though, plenty of opportunities to get back up there. Not worried about Wake right now. Bad weeks happen. It's baseball. And then, with Carolina, I think they deserve to be number 1. Obviously, Clemson did not look good this weekend. And then State, yes, they won the series, but another head-scratching midweek loss to Elon, getting shut out too, right?
Yes, 2-0 at home.
Yeah, so right now, I think Carolina deserves to be at 1, and rightfully so, after the week they had.
And NC State very well could have lost that series. I mean, Boston College, I mean, if they didn't make a bad error in the Friday game in the 9th inning, Boston College could have won that series, and this could have really been jumbled up a little more. But Braxton, to close out the power ranking discussion, Georgia Tech win over Clemson, tough for Clemson, and just kind of how do you kind of see them right now? I mean, is it kind of good that they kind of got punched in the mouth here?
Yeah, I think it could. I think it could be. I think also just them losing at home, or no, it wasn't at home; it was neutral site. But losing a midweek game to Georgia Southern as well hurt them a little bit in their week. So they go 1-3 this week. But I think, like we said, Georgia Tech's a great team. So it's no time to hang your hat. Same with Wake. Florida State's a great team, and I know both of those series were lost at home. So it's a bad look for us in Carolinas, as those were our 1 and 2 teams last week. Sorry. But look, like, you're still good ball clubs. You're still going to be ranked in the top 25 nationally. And I think that it's just time to flush it, move on to the next one, and play your best ball this upcoming week. So I'm not worried about either of them. You're going to lose baseball games, especially against teams of the caliber of Georgia Tech and Florida State. It is what it is, but you got to just be able to have a short-term memory and move on to the next game.
That is correct. And I think that'll do it for our power rankings discussion. Now going to get into the midweeks. Going to read them off. We're going to do them half and half, so we don't read the whole thing. So make sure you're listening, so you can talk about the ones that I read off. Love you, buddy. Start off with North Florida at Charleston Southern, the Citadel at Georgia. Reed, does another SoCon team go in there and stun the Bulldogs?
It'd be awesome to see. But I think Citadel is going to have their hands full tomorrow.
I agree. And Charlotte at South Carolina. This is a big one, in my opinion. Braxton, South Carolina is just reeling. And then also Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte needs a nice bounce back. They got the win on Sunday. But I think this is a good opportunity for Charlotte to get one, as well as South Carolina to kind of get the ball rolling.
Yeah, this game will definitely have my attention tomorrow at Founders Park. I really hate it, but I think I'm going to go South Carolina tomorrow. I think they're just going to find a way to win this game. It's tough because of the way Charlotte's been playing the last few weeks, but I think it's just a really make or break moment right now for South Carolina. So I think they need to have a good midweek going into whatever SEC team they play this weekend. And I think they're going to do that, but
Arkansas.
I could easily see this. Yeah, Arkansas, that's right. I could easily see this going the other way as well, for sure.
Do they play Missouri this year?
I'll check right now.
I know we looked at this early in the year because we were already
Seriously.
trying to figure out where's their win.
Missouri got swept as well this past weekend, so I
Yeah,
think it's
by,
a battle for both teams to 3 SEC wins. So
Who beat
let's
Missouri?
see. Auburn.
That's right.
Shout out Bristol Carter. Wofford at Presbyterian. Let's keep the ball rolling here. As we touched on, Liberty at Wake Forest. Elon at East Carolina, Reed. This will be a little bit of a tricky one. Curious who East Carolina throws. I mean, dealing with some injuries. Curious who plays as well, Elon. And Elon beat NC State last week in Raleigh. So anything's possible.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really know what you're going to get from the Pirates right now at the moment, it seems. So, I mean, they better be ready to play. But I did just check. South Carolina does play Missouri this year. And one of those games is on ESPNU.
That is a disgrace.
That might get changed.
That will
Flex it.
definitely get changed.
They might get the flex, yeah.
Yeah, flex it to softball.
Flex as a college baseball.
Yeah, insane.
That's a Thursday night game too. So
No, that'll stay.
Oh my goodness, Lord have mercy. Duke at Campbell. This is the first of the pair of Campbell midweek games as they host Coastal tomorrow as well. Clemson at College of Charleston. NC State at UNC Wilmington. Winthrop at Pacific. Of most of these games, I really want to see NC State and Wilmington, but of course we will not be able to watch, unfortunately, due to Flow Sports. And then Winthrop at Pacific, interesting there, traveling across the country. Braxton, Winthrop has got some really, really, really hot bats. I think they got one guy. You said, is it Hernandez batting?
Yeah, Jalen Hernandez has been terrific.
He's been terrific for them. So, and I think that will travel. Braxton, of the Tuesday games, which ones have your eye?
I mean, certainly NC State, Wilmington, like you said. Duke, Campbell. I think for Campbell, I see them getting a win this midweek in one of these two games, and I think it's going to come tomorrow against. I think Duke's a little bit worse than Coastal. I think if you're Campbell, you'll see these two games coming up, and you'll throw your better arms per se tomorrow to try and get that win, because Coastal is going to be tough to beat, but they could certainly beat them as well. So I would definitely say I'm going to have my eye on that game. Elon ECU, like y'all have been talking about, can ECU, take care of business at home? And then Charlotte, South Carolina, we've already talked about too. But I would say all of those is the ones that I'm going to closely have my eye on.
And Wednesday, Gardner-Webb at Western Carolina. UNCG is not playing A&T this week. They're playing at Carolina. Coastal Carolina at Campbell. Upstate at Charlotte. That's a good one. Queens at Radford and Clemson at the Citadel. The Citadel, two major opportunities here to win in the midweek to get into our rankings. I mean, if they go 2-0 in the midweek, we might have to put them in there even if they get swept this weekend.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
goodness gracious, that'd be impressive. Reed, I got my eye on Coastal and Campbell, and guess what? Can't watch it. Flow Sports, but also Reed, Upstate, and Charlotte. That'll be a good one for sure.
I expect a lot of runs in that game. Well, it looks like Gardner Webb and Western isn't on TV as well. I think that should be a really good one too, as well on Wednesday.
Braxton, your thoughts on Wednesday, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be trying to watch Upstate Charlotte. That's going to be a great game. Carolina as well at 4:00. Gardner Webb Western in the early time slot too. The thing I want to mention about these games, like I'm a little bit hesitant on these. Some of these might not get played, with the weather. So we're going to keep an eye on how many of these do get canceled. Like I said, there was already 3 that were canceled. We were supposed to get App State and High Point this week, which would have been nice. I think Asheville had one that was postponed against ETSU, I want to say. And there was one other one that I'm blanking on it right now. I think it was A&T and someone. But I think you could see a couple more follow suit with the weather that's in town this week. So we will see. But hopefully we can get as many of these in as we can.
That is correct. And be sure to follow us tomorrow on Instagram as you can pick who you think is going to win on our Instagram stories, on our Midweek Madness Pick'em. We love to see those results. We'll read those off on Thursday. I want to start doing that. And speaking of reading our Instagram stories, we posted on our Instagram story biggest weekend takeaway. And we really want you guys to comment and tell us what your thoughts are. The first one was from Trevor Wyndham. First of all, happy birthday, Trevor Wyndham. It is your birthday today. Happy birthday, bud. He is a UNC Wilmington Seahawk, and he says UNCW is winning the CAA. Reed, I do not think that is ridiculous to say at all.
No, I mean, like I've said earlier in the show, I think they have one of the best pitching staffs in the Carolina, and you can make the argument they have the best at the moment. No, I think that's a very fair prediction from Trevor.
And from Yo, Braxton, did you have any take on that?
I agree. I think that's the best team in the CAA right now, if I had to pick. So I think they can certainly. They're used to winning that league as well. They've done it many times the last few years. So I think that's my pick. If I had to change, I don't know what I think I picked Campbell preseason, but if I had to change, I would go Wilmington.
Yo 15_11. Tyler Wright from Charleston Southern is one of the best hitters in the Carolinas. Braxton, I would agree to that for sure.
Yeah, I think he's hitting close to 400. He hasn't played every game, but when he's in that lineup, he does well. I think he's hitting, like I said, close to 400. So definitely a good point out there. Shout out to that kid. And
Jay Locker Jr., South Carolina needs to clean house. Reed Tobin, you and Jay Locker Jr. need to go have lunch because you guys are thinking the same thing.
This is the South Carolina episode, I guess.
Yeah, this is the South Carolina episode. I'm definitely going to say tomorrow or tonight when I post a preview for this, is South Carolina in trouble?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
That'll be a good bullet right there.
Yeah. Boys, to wrap this up, any closing comments on a weekend that was and a midweek that will be?
I want to say, obviously we've got the midst of March Madness. Don't forget to watch your baseball. I know there's going to be a lot of basketball watching. I will be watching basketball. Don't get me wrong, but there's good baseball on too. I just want to make that point for all the sports fanatics out there. But looking forward to a great weekend. I mean, we're so blessed to get March Madness baseball, World Baseball Classic, which has been electric. It's a great time to be a sports fan right now. So just excited to watch all the action, and especially if you don't want to watch the first 4, watch some midweek baseball.
Yes, that is correct. And also, Reed, golf. It's been a great season of golf. So, Reed, what will you be watching this weekend?
Tournament? It's a great time for sports right now.
And NASCAR. Do not forget.
And NASCAR. Don't forget that. It's just an awesome time right now with everything happening. But no, I'm looking forward for the midweek madness on Tuesday and Wednesday. A lot of big games here in the Carolinas, which will set the stage for an exciting upcoming weekend.
Looking forward to it, boys. And boys, I will wrap up the show here. We will see you on Thursday. On Thursday, the NCAA tournament will be going on, so hopefully you tune into us. Hopefully you have a great setup, like most of us. We have 2 or 3 TVs in the living room. Put us on a TV, the
Just
smaller
on
one.
TV.
Just put us on a smaller one or the big one if you choose. Appreciate it. And folks, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify as well. Follow us on all platforms. Be sure to click our Instagram stories tomorrow to choose your pick'ems. Select who you think is going to win. We love seeing your guys' feedback. Good night, folks. Don't forget to fill out your brackets before Thursday. Just know, fill out this bracket before you watch our show, because if not, it's not valid. So that's how I would kind of go by filling your bracket. Reed, I know your bracket's already filled with UNC, the national champion. It's all good though,
I actually
brother.
haven't filled
We'll
one
see if
out
it
yet.
happens. All right, y'all. Good night, and we will see you on Thursday.